There is a question that seems simple, but it becomes much deeper when you take it seriously. When was Jesus really born? Because Christmas is our celebration. But the incarnation was an act of God within real history. Because the Bible gives us clues, history gives us anchors, and tradition gives us a date. And if we want to speak with clarity, we need to separate three things: Scripture, history, and tradition. Let's begin where we must begin, with the text. Only two Gospels describe the birth of Jesus in greater detail: Matthew and Luke. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 1, Matthew gives us a very strong historical marker. He says that Jesus was born in Bethlehem in the days of Herod the Great. Herod the Great was the king of Judea, appointed and supported by Rome. A powerful ruler, known for major building projects and also for political harshness. So when Matthew mentions Herod, he is placing the birth of Jesus within a real historical period. This matters because Herod is not a myth. He is a ruler documented in history. In the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verse 1, Luke adds another marker. He speaks of a decree from Caesar Augustus, a census. And in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verse 2, Luke mentions a specific name: Quirinius. Quirinius was a Roman official and administrator of the empire, connected to the government of Syria. His name became associated with registrations and censuses in the region, and that is why he appears as a reference in Luke's account. In other words, Scripture places the birth of Jesus inside the real world. Real rulers, real taxes, real pressure. But Scripture also leaves something out. It does not give us the day. It does not give us the month. It does not give us an exact year. Now let's move to history. If Jesus was born during the reign of Herod, then Jesus must have been born before Herod died. And most historical reconstructions place Herod's death around 4 BC. A smaller group of scholars argues for a later date, around 1 BC, because of how they interpret a lunar eclipse mentioned by Josephus. But here is the main point, and it is simple: whether you accept the majority date or you accept the minority view. Either way, Jesus is born before the year we call 1 AD. That means something important. The labels BC and AD are not inspired scripture. They are human systems, and they are not a perfect instrument. So no, Jesus was not born in year 1, and there is no year 0. Our calendar points to Christ, but it is not an exact photograph of chronology, and that should not shake faith. Because Christianity is not built on a perfect calendar, it is built on a real Christ. Now comes the tension many people mention. In the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, Luke connects the birth of Jesus to a census involving Quirinius. And the best documented census connected to Quirinius is around 6 to 7 AD. In other words, it seems too late, because Herod would already have died. So what is happening? There are a few explanations discussed by scholars. Some believe Luke may be referring to an earlier administrative process, less documented. Others suggest Quirinius held authority in the region in more than one period. And others point to nuances in the Greek that may influence how the sentence is understood. But here we need balance. The Bible is not lying, and history is not irrelevant. In the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 through 7, this comes through with force. Luke shows the Messiah entering the world under the weight of an empire, under a decree, under pressure, under systems beyond human control. And yet, God's plan moves forward. So, when was Jesus born? When we gather the most reliable anchors. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 1, Herod appears as the central marker. And in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 3, verse 23, we read that Jesus began his ministry at about 30 years of age, and that comes within the chronological context presented in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 3, verse 1. Many historians place the birth of Jesus approximately between 6 and 4 BC. Some widen that range a little, but this window is a very common conclusion. Now comes the inevitable question: if we cannot prove the day, why do Christians celebrate on December 25th? Here we enter tradition, and tradition is not automatically false. Tradition is a way communities preserve meaning when exact dates were not preserved. The Bible does not give the date. So early Christians asked a different question: how do we mark this truth in time? There are two main reasons December 25th became important. First, an ancient theological logic. Among Jews and early Christians, there was an idea that great prophets completed their life cycle on full dates. So some Christians connected the conception of Jesus to a date associated with his death, March 25th. And by counting 9 months, they arrived at late December. That is not astronomy. That is theology, a way of saying from conception to the cross, from the womb to the resurrection, the life of Christ is one coherent mission. Second, the cultural context of the Roman Empire. Late December was filled with symbolism. Light, a turning of the season, public festivals, and Christians did something powerful. They did not worship the sun. They proclaimed the one to whom the sun points, not the light in the sky, but the light of the world. In the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 2, Scripture says, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light." And in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 12, Jesus says, "I am the light of the world." And so, December 25th became a confession, even in the darkest season. God entered. So, is Christmas pagan? That statement is often simplistic. Here is the honest answer. December 25th is not the historically proven birthday of Jesus, but Christians do not celebrate that date as if it were a birth certificate. They celebrate a truth, that the eternal Son entered time, that God did not remain distant, that heaven touched earth. And if someone rejects Christmas simply because the date is not historically certain, that person is missing the heart of the gospel, because the power of the incarnation is not that it happened on a specific day. The power is that it happened, and it happened for us. So, when was Jesus really born? Most likely, a few years before the year we call 1 AD. More likely, between 6 and 4 BC. And remember, that is before Christ, not after. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 1, this fits within the final years of Herod's reign, but the Bible never asks you to worship a date. It asks you to worship Christ. And when we celebrate on December 25th, we are not claiming perfect chronology. We are proclaiming eternal meaning. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14, we read, "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us," and that changes everything. Now tell me in the comments, do you think the date matters more than the meaning it carries? From all of us at Faith Revealed, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. May the Lord fill your home with peace, your heart with hope, and your days with the joy of Christ. God bless you.